What's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Realistic Career Mode. This is episode number 85. We're starting today's episode off on the back of our victory over Leeds in the EFL Cup quarter-final to make it through to the final four of the Carabao Cup. We're simulating one day in the calendar. We find out our opponents for the semis, and Chelsea have got... Wait for it. Wolves in the semi at Stamford Bridge, and I'm really excited for that game because, as you know, Molineux is a ground right. Ordinarily, don't play very well. But this season, we thrashed them 7-1 at Molineux. Of course, that was our second game using the new alternate tactic. We've got the 4-3-3 holding. And as we know now, Bruno Lage's side have become a Champions League side in the game. This season, they're in the Champions League. So that's going to be a tough one there. The other tie is Newcastle versus Liverpool. So the final four are all in the top 8 of the Premier League right now. Liverpool, the Magpies, or Wolves. Whoever we would have got, it would have been tough over 2 legs. But after our big thrashing win against them, our biggest win as Chelsea manager so far at Molineux, I feel confident we've got a great chance of progressing through to the final. Haven't been there since season 2. The only domestic honour I haven't won. I want it. I really do. I don't care if it doesn't count towards the objectives. I want to be able to say I've won all the major domestic honours in England in this save. Anyway, for the first game of today's episode, could not wait for this one. Top 2, battling it out here at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea versus Liverpool. 6-point gap on the Reds right now with a game to go before the halfway point. If we'll beat Jurgen Klopp's side, we're 9 points clear at the halfway stage. If they get the win, they cut it to 3. And heading into the game, massive one, top 2 meeting, just like they have been today on the FA Cup final. Obviously, I'm recording this video in advance, so I don't know the outcome of it, but the video will be coming out after the conclusion of that game as Liverpool chase that historic quadruple. Taking them on in the game, though, I love it when there's, you know, a game in real life, a massive one, and I'm playing it on the same day as well. But yeah, taking on the Reds here, the worst possible start. Mo Salah opening the scoring early on with his 9th of the season. And 24 minutes in, Liverpool, as we know, can play some absolutely brilliant football at times, including in the game as well. Who says FIFA is not realistic? Great passing inside my own area. Salah and Mane with the 1-2. And Mo Salah's 10th of the season and his 2nd of the game made it 2-0, 25 minutes in. And we're down by a couple and facing the prospect of our 2nd defeat of this season and 2nd defeat recently as well on the back of our loss to Manchester United. And for Mo Salah as well, you know, obviously a lot of talk about, you know, where he will go next if he does decide to leave Liverpool, that is. And, you know, there have been parts of this season where he'd been a little bit inconsistent, but I guess the phrase that I would use to describe Mo Salah at certain parts of this season would be quite simply, you know, form is temporary, class is permanent. Even when Salah was having that little bit of a struggling patch of form, I mean, he's still chipped in with over 20 goals this season with a few games to go and a ton of assists as well. I mean, the guy has still been brilliant, but I guess that's one of those cases of a victim of your own success. When you are that good, any mini struggling patch of form is always going to be elevated by the media in terms of criticism. But Salah, come on man, everyone knows this guy is one of the absolute best players in the modern era. Even so, we got back in the game soon after Salah doubled the lead and got his 2nd. Tammy Abraham with the goal to make it 2-1. Right before the break, denied his brace by a great save by Alisson even. And then in the second half, 4 minutes after the restart, a great save by Mendy kept it 2-1 and prevented Liverpool from extending their lead back to 2. And from that, we broke on the counter. Kai goes down the right hand side. Lovely dribbling and skill moves to release Mason Mount. Quick ball across to Tammy, and Abraham gets his 2nd of the game to battle us back from 2 goals down to make it 2-2. This was such a massive game as well. Like, huge implications on the title race here if we were to lose this one. Liverpool to inflict our 2nd defeat on us in just a few games, both coming at the bridge and cutting the gap to 3 right at the halfway point. I couldn't afford that. Had to at least get a point. Tammy Abraham, the star, rescuing us in this game, but in the final seconds of the match. Well, recently I asked you guys the question, who's the best goalkeeper in FIFA 22? If you're building your fantasy career mode team, team, who would you have between the sticks? Well, I mentioned him in that episode. He's my shot stopper right now, Edouard Mendy. How many times has this guy bailed me out in late game situations? He's done it once again. Denies Mo Salah the hat-trick and the game winner, and ensures after a solid piece of defending in the build-up afterwards, we'd hold on to the point and claim the draw and keep Liverpool at a 6-point gap. So, thrilling game, 2-2. Obviously, you would have seen the conclusion of the FA Cup final today. All I can say is that I hope that game lives up to this one in the save. 2-2 the final score. Salah with a brace, Abraham with a brace, and a decent point, and I'll take that. And as you'd have seen in the post-match interview as well, I basically said it. Liverpool needed the win more than we did. That would have cut it to 3. Instead, I keep them at a 6-point gap. There is, of course, a long way to go. A whole other half of the season to go, but I feel confident with that 6-point gap there and a better goal difference swing as well. If I can just pick up a few wins in succession in January and February, don't slip up too many times, and Liverpool maybe have 1 or 2 slip-ups, we can extend the lead to like 8, 9, possibly even a double-digit gap. It all depends on staying consistent, really. I'd say right now with that 6-point gap and the superior goal difference record as well, we're certainly, you know, a long way to go. Certainly can't rule out an amazing team like Liverpool for getting back into this title race, but that point there and keeping them at bay was absolutely massive. Because I've said before, I don't know if it's the same for you guys as well, but I feel the pressure so much in FIFA CM, and once I let teams get back into a race when I've got a little gap, I just start to crumble. And in games where I expect to win pretty comfortably, I play really poorly and drop points in games that should be, if not bankers, but matches where I'm considered heavy favourites. If you watch my Bundesliga career mode this year, you'd remember there was a time in Season 3, I think it was, where I had like an 8-point gap or a 9-point gap on Bayern Munich, and then I gradually let them back in the title race, and I ended up losing it by losing 2 of my final 3 games in the league. It's one of those things for me, it's really a mental thing where, like, when I've got the gap I feel great, but one little slip up here or there and I let the big teams back in it, and suddenly I start to crumble under the pressure. The key for me is making sure Liverpool stay at least 2 or 3 games behind us. Right now it's 2 with a 6-point gap. Anyway, following game, Brighton away, Graham Potter's side here. Looking forward to this one. Seems whenever we face Brighton, it's a really good game. Obviously last year we signed a couple of their players because of their relegation 2 years ago. That's why Kefren Turam and Tariq Lamptey are now Chelsea players as well. We'd opened the scoring for a hugely lucky goal for an own goal. I thought Abraham totally faked the goalkeeper out. In the end, it turned out to be an own goal, so I can't really credit that one as a bit of skill, just very lucky. Even so, leading by a goal, and I was playing pretty decent football in this game as well, knocking the ball around really, really nicely from left to right, right to left, getting everyone touches on the ball, playing good, heavy, possession-based football, and 12 minutes after the restart, after a really nice build-up, it's a 1-2 between Kefren and Tammy, and Turam back at Brighton, signed him to start last season, and I really like this guy. You know, I absolutely love jack-of-all-trades CMs. They're my favourite type of players. Well, if not my favourite, and one of my favourite type of players in FIFA. Renato Sanchez is probably my favourite player in FIFA career mode. And Kefren Turam's a bit like Renato Sanchez. You know, the guy can do anything. He really can. He's a jack-of-all-trades. There's no weakness to his game. And he's also 6'4", with the high work rates and the solid player trait as well. I mean, he really is my type of player. If you're doing a career mode and you're looking for a Docs type of player, that man on the left, that's the guy who you should be looking to sign, Kefren Turam, the guy that can do practically everything. Jack of all trades, solid player trait, bonus points if he's got the team player trait as well, the high stamina, the high work rates. That's my type of guy. I always want one in my team. I've got one in Turam. He was man of the match in this game. His second goal ensured we get the win with a 2-1 victory. So as December comes to an end, as you can see, Liverpool slip up in the previous games. He just go 9 points clear of the Reds. And that's why that draw was so crucial. We got a far superior goal difference record and a 9-point gap as well, with 18 games to go. Like I said, the plan for me was keep Liverpool 2 or 3 games at bay. I don't want to let them get back in the title race, because once they start applying the pressure, I will crumble. I know I will. So for now, we're keeping them at bay, and we've extended the lead to 9 with that far superior goal record as well. Obviously, again, 18 games to go, practically half the season still remaining, taking nothing for granted. But you'd even say right now, it's our title to lose at this point, even with 18 games to go, no doubt about it. Only lost once all season long. That was away at Old Trafford. Yeah, sorry, at home at Stamford Bridge to Manchester United. Definitely, no doubt about it. We're firm favourites to retain our title. I just got to make sure I stay competitive and don't allow Liverpool back in it, because once I do, I know I'll start to crumble. So as January comes around, it is the transfer window opening in January. As you can see, Lewis Hall has left to Bournemouth. Really like that as well for the realism. Obviously spent last year on loan at the Vitality. Now he's gone there on a permanent deal to play under Scott Parker. And as you can see, we've got just over 30 million in the budget for January. And I guess the question is really, what do we do with it? I mean, you know, do we keep our pennies for next season, or do we look to splash the cash, maybe make a big sale and a big signing, or just buy a couple more squad members? I don't really know, because you look at the team there. There's quality in depth. We've added some decent young talent to the team this year as well. I don't really think we need to do anything. And I mean, I guess what you're seeing on the pitch backs that up as well, because we're top by 9 points. We're into the last 16 in the Champions League. We're into the semis of the Carabao Cup as well. And obviously in the FA Cup, you would have seen we've just been drawn it as well. We've got a championship side away. I don't think we need to do anything. I really don't. And now that Lautaro Martinez is back from injury, back on the team sheet and back on the score sheet as well. I mean, Pulisic is still down, but I still feel right now we're in such a good position. I think making changes really would be detrimental. I don't think we need to make anything. And you know me, man, when the January window comes around, it's always one of two things. I'll make a big deal or I'll do absolutely nothing. But I don't see the point in doing anything in January right now. I mean, maybe, possibly signing one squad player to help with the depth, but at the moment, I think we're okay. I really do. So no plans to do anything as of yet. Even so, for the final game of today's episode, first one of January, Dean Smith's Canaries back in the Premier League, the ultimate yo-yo team in this FIFA career mode save, taking on Norwich City. Well, we were leading through Lautaro Martinez, his first goal since returning from injury, and I said to the Argentine, you've lost your place in the race for the Golden Boot as the top scorer in the league. You want to get back in it? Well, you're back on the team sheet. Get yourself a couple of goals. He does exactly that. This guy this season has been incredible. And yes, the injury was a shame, but has he lost a step? Absolutely not. First game back in the team. What does he do? Bags our first 2 goals and then gets an assist as well. Rolls through Ethan and Padu off the bench, and the Welsh international bags our third in a pretty controlled display here at Stamford Bridge. 18 minutes to go. We will make it 4 as well. And honestly, man, this kid is one to look out for in the future. Jasper Whitehouse, who came off the bench alongside Padu. You remember in the game against Man City at the Etihad, he and Thuram, that's Marcus Thuram, changed the game. Absolutely changed the game with the energy. And in this game, bags his second of the season and our 4th of the night, of the day, as well. Final score 4-0. Very controlled victory there against the Canaries. And we don't just get another 3 points on the board, but continue to extend our goal difference gap on the Reds as well. Big win there. And like I said earlier, the key for me is keeping Liverpool as far at bay as possible. Because once I let them back in it, I know I'll start to crumble. With 17 games to go, 9-point gap, major goal difference swing as well. There's no doubt about it. Even with 17 games to go, title feels like mine to lose. Just got to make sure I don't absolutely bottle it. But that will end today's episode of the Realistic Career Mode, guys. Big thank you for watching. Hope you have enjoyed it. If you hadn't, please drop a like. Much love to you all. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you for the next episode of the Realistic Career Mode very soon.